I'm about as real as they come.
All my beats tailored by Joe. House Digital.
Maserati, Rick in Detroit. Convertible bird in Miami. Graduated summa cum laude. Strip club made a tsunami. Carlton Hines with the ball game. Grateful Edmonds with the snowflakes. Craig Pettis in the M-Town. Sal Magluta with the boat game. Falcone with the cocaine. Like Freeway Ricky with the plug game. Like Monster Cody in South Central. Larry Davis from close range.
First off, nigga, let me load my pistol.
Southeast Washington neighborhood has been declared one of the most dangerous in the country.
Here, it's become an all too familiar scene in Southeast DC. A triple shooting featuring the usual players in these parts: teenage victims, teenage suspects. Phil Hines was 14 when he was shot the first time. You heard correct. He's been shot 2 separate times on the same Southeast street. His first time?
Yeah, of course you get shot in the chest and it come out your neck. Of course you think you're gonna die.
He was pronounced dead at the scene and then revived, only to get shot again at 20 years old in April.
Next thing you know, shots start coming towards my area. Hit my truck and hit me. Where did you get hit? I got hit right here in the leg, and I got hit right here towards the backside of my leg.
Southeast has seen a shocking increase in violence in the first 4 months of this year compared to last year. Murders are up 75%, sexual assaults 50%, and there's been an increase of armed robberies by 18%. Paramedic Aretha Lyles has personally seen the trend. Every week transported wounded teenagers from this urban battlefield.
The worst part about it is picking up these bodies off the street and then telling a parent that your baby didn't make it.
With such a violent winter and spring, community activists fear the summer.
Where you at?
Ron Moten thinks unless more is done to help this community soon, we'll see a return to the summer of 2006.
Well, we had over 60, 70 gang crew beefs in this city that caused gunshots every day to go up all throughout the city, right? Caused innocent people to be harmed. Made it as though people couldn't have their children come out and play.
And that paramedic that we just spoke with, she started a program called Choice. It's meant to get young people who, for whatever reason, cannot attend DC public schools because perhaps they're track-read, and give them educational and vocational and life services. They say more programs like that are needed to avoid having really hot, rough summers over the next few ones around here. Reporting from Southeast, Candace Gibson, ABC 7 News.
I'm not a real rapper, I'm a real lie hitter. Shoot a down and throw the baddie in the river. I'm not a real
It was 1 year ago today, a DC rapper was gunned down at a cookout in a Southeast apartment complex. The murder was carried out just weeks after Antonio Leach released this controversial feud video.
It is a video his parents and now the police say may have led to his death. Paul Wagner has more on this Fox 5 exclusive.
Have you ever met a killer? Don't answer that.
The video posted to YouTube in April of last year shows Antonio Leach in a Halloween mask holding pistols with extended clips. Rapping as OG ManMan, Leach is recorded at the gravesite of a rival's dead friend, setting a photograph on fire and threatening violence in an ongoing feud. A video some believe went too far.
This is real hard. This is hard. Every day I think of my son. Every day.
Lucia Leach and Anthony Jones are Antonio's parents. They knew about the video and worried it would lead to trouble.
I was afraid, but I let him know I was afraid. And then that's when he promised me that I'm going to stop, because they had started going back and forth first. They started it.
Leach's parents say the feud began when Antonio's rival called him a snitch.
Talking about I'm snitching.
I think because of what he felt, because they saying he was a snitch, he felt threatened even by the general public. And I think that he felt in his heart that he had to retaliate that way.
DC police were back in the neighborhood today, handing out flyers, hoping to generate new leads in the case. The night he was killed, Antonio Leach had just gotten a phone call from someone asking him to come over here to a cookout that was taking place behind these apartments on F Street Southeast. There were a number of people here, but it's unclear exactly how many, when suddenly someone approached with a handgun, opened fire, hitting him multiple times.
I knew he was on the phone, and he left back out. When he reached for the door, I said, "Well, son, where you going?" He said, "Dad, I'll be right back in a minute."
A year after the murder, detectives have been so far unable to develop any suspects. An area of the city where Antonio Leach's parents know the code of the streets is strong.
The people is afraid to tell anything because they end up not having nowhere to go, or the person might come after them.
But Lucille Leach is begging for help. She wants justice for her son.
It would mean a whole lot. It'll help my heart, my mind, and my soul to know that somebody is out here that really cares for us.
On YouTube, what's known as OG ManMan's diss video has been viewed more than 1.7 million times. For the person who can tip the police, there's a $25,000 reward on the table. Paul Wagner, Fox 5 Local News.
Yeah, we back. It's your ace, Popalot. Mobb. We on our way to the district with it. DC. Now, I don't get here nearly as much as I should with the amount of gangster shit going on, but I'm going to need the whole city to get in the comment box for this one. We're about to talk about some hood history. Now, before we get into that or who I'm going to be covering, I'm going to give y'all some general history on Washington, D.C., or Chocolate City. Now, in 1957, D.C. became the first large city in the United States to be majority black, earning it the nickname Chocolate City. Now, when you think of D.C., a lot of people are going to be thinking about parties, the Capitol and all the monuments, brunch in D.C., and how could I forget the Stadium Club? But not too far from all of that, you will find a grimy ass city that's filled with drug dealing, robbery, shooting, and even murder. And we're going to talk a little bit about that with the person that I'm covering today. And without further ado, we covering none other than Antonio OG ManMan Leach. Now, if anybody knows of OG ManMan before this episode, y'all only know of him from one way, and that's probably one of the most disrespectful, outlandish, over-the-top music video / rap song of all time. You have a few others like No Vaseline or Hit 'Em Up. Y'all get in the comment box and name probably the most disrespectful ones that y'all remember. But this one is going to be next level. If I'm not mistaken, this is going to be either right around or a little bit before all of the shit was going on in Chicago where niggas started smoking on the dead rivals. And since then, actually, some videos have got even more disrespectful because I seen where they went to the actual graveyard. But in this specific video, if you haven't seen it, it's actually on YouTube and it's titled Truth. It was released on April 2nd, 2016, and it has about 4.5 million views. And a lot of those views happened after OG ManMan's death. And a lot of people would say that his death was attributed to that video, but you could never really say that accurately in a city like DC, which even now is still going crazy, because in 2021, they had about 105 homicides. As of July 21st, 2002, they have over 120 homicides. It's going to be the first time in DC history that the city has surpassed over 100 homicides since 2003. And that's almost going back to when DC was at one time the murder capital. You can call it the crack capital. You can call it the hustle capital. A lot of shit done went down in DC. And OG ManMan is just a page in the story of that city. Now, the song The Truth was actually a response to another rapper by the name of Big Flock and lyrics that he had on his intro to an album he had released called Glockism. Now, in those lyrics, Big Flock states, "I want to be a boss, and so is Little Chris, R.I.P. the boss. My nigga doing 30 up in the mountains because he could not beat the charge. So it's free my nigga Ank. I'ma keep on saying shit until they free my dogs. My nigga Holly sold us off. It's fucked up to know a nigga pussy all along. And ManMan turned informant. Thought he was real, but he put on a good performance." Now, if any of y'all ever lived in the hood or spent significant time in the hood, y'all know the consequences of calling somebody a snitch or being labeled a snitch. And pretty much those lyrics set off a back and forth between the two that would lead to OG ManMan doing interviews, discrediting Big Flock even on a song. He would say how he was there with Big Flock when he had an issue with Shot Glizzy at one point in time. So this was a rap beef, but this was also a personal beef. And where it went too far, a lot of people would say, is where OG ManMan would go on to diss a very close friend of Big Flock, a 19-year-old Hampton University student by the name of Christopher Smith. Now, I saw in an interview where Big Flock said him and Christopher Smith became close because Big Flock was dealing with some issues with law enforcement and he was forced to leave his area and go stay with Christopher Smith at Hampton University. So they were really close. Christopher Smith would end up falling from the Shakahoe Valley Bridge in Richmond, and that would be in July of 2013. Now, OG ManMan, while recording the video for The Truth, would be at the gravesite of Christopher Smith. And if the beef was on then, that definitely took it to a next level, because it would be a little over 2 months from the release of his controversial video where OG ManMan, who was 23 at the time, would end up being shot and killed on the 4400 block of F Street in Southeast while he was attending a cookout that somebody had called him to. So this was a whole, the internet ran with it, academics kind of posted it at the time. I definitely vividly remember seeing this, and I sat back and I definitely thought that this was something that was Mobb ties worthy now, because years later, looking back at it, this was almost the start of shit that's going on now, and it's still not almost to the level. This was still next level to some of the shit happening now. But y'all get at me and let me know what y'all think. Was the video too controversial? Was it the cause of his death? And y'all let me know if y'all remember when this whole situation went down. Y'all follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, POP_A_LOT. Y'all make sure y'all hit the red subscribe right under this video so y'all know when this real trill spill shit is dropping. And definitely make sure y'all get in the comment box. Let me know what cities we haven't been to, where we need to go, what gangsters we haven't covered, what we got wrong, what stories we missed, all of that shit. It's your boy Popalot. Mobb, Mobb, Mobb.